Bună ziua, good afternoon. As a storyteller, communicator, and a former journalist, I know sometimes the truth hurts. As I've traveled around the world, I've often realized that seeing a country in its true light sometimes depends on you actually going there and seeing it firsthand for yourself. Oftentimes, it depends on perhaps seeing a country through foreign eyes to see it in a different light. My journey to Romania began 22 years ago in the summer of 2002 when I arrived with a group of 65 idealistic Americans, Peace Corps volunteers. We came to do humanitarian work for 2 years. The Peace Corps was started by President Kennedy in the 60s, and the idea is to send American citizens, regular people, not diplomats, skilled volunteers to developing countries at the request of those countries to offer assistance and to train local people with skills and to help the country develop and advance. I worked in community economic development, and we had colleagues in environmental, healthcare, and English teachers as well. We trained for 3 months in the industrial city of Ploiești. This is the lovely school where we did our training for the entire summer. And then we were deployed for 2 years across the country. I was based here in Timișoara. It was the start of an adventure of a lifetime, and it was just 12 years after the Romanian Revolution and the fall of Ceausescu and communism. It was a great time, some of you will remember. It was a monochrome of sad faces and crumbling buildings and Dacia cars that were spewing fumes, and there were horse carts and packs of dogs, feral dogs, roaming the streets like they own them. It was an eye-opener for me, even though I had been to developing countries before and had been in Eastern Europe once before. But this was the reality we were facing, and it was fascinating. And probably the toughest part to adjust to was the mentality and the culture. In any Peace Corps assignment, there's a bit of culture shock. Here, it was the sort of rampant negativity and widespread mistrust that was still floating around then, and that was very different for us as Americans. But there were plenty of good things too, and small victories and incremental accomplishments in helping people, making new friends, learning a new culture and a language. It was fantastic. Over time, I realized that I was learning a lot about Romania and also a lot about myself. In time, I too realized that Romania had given me more than I'd given it. I even met my wife here, but that's a whole nother story. So, fast forward to today. Romania is a vastly different country. In fact, I've had the privilege to witness this kind of transformation for the past 20 years. I've had a front row seat to seeing Romania evolve and change. And I've written about it off and on for 20 years. And about 8 years ago, I actually left California for the third time to move to Romania. And I live here in Timișoara with my wife and son. But Romanians often ask me, why? Why would you leave the United States and move to Romania? Or why would you leave California for Timișoara? Perhaps some of you are wondering. For me, it's an easy answer. It's a beautiful country. It's very safe. It's calm. There's a lot to see and do. No place is perfect, but it's a great place. And we like it here. The difference is, I think, for foreigners to adapt to a new place, it just takes time. But I was well used to Romania. And having lived here now over 11 years, I'm not just a casual observer. I've traveled around the country. I really have seen a lot of it, and I appreciate it. And I think, in a word, it's authentic. The country has cosmopolitan cities that are vibrant and with compelling architecture. It has Transylvania with its charming villages, castles, fortresses, painted monasteries, etc. It has an entire border of the Danube River that flows to the Danube Delta, which is the Amazon of Europe. It has the Carpathian Mountains, a wide swath of the Carpathian Mountains. It has multiple UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It has a Black Sea coast that is striving to improve itself. And it has time-honored traditions and warm, down-to-earth people. So what's not to like? Then why does Romania rank near the bottom of the European Union for tourism? It's a pity. I appreciate Romania so much, and I believe in this, that I wrote a story last year in the New York Times. I believe it's an underrated country, and I wrote this story, and Romanians contacted me from around the world, from the diaspora, from around the country, from Timișoara, and many people were proud to see their country in such a prestigious newspaper, one of the world's most important journals with millions of subscribers. But yet, some, even my own friends, questioned me and said, why? Why did you write that? Is Timișoara really worthy of such attention? Are we really worthy of the New York Times? This is, again, some of the mentality that we're still facing. So the fact that Romania ranks near the bottom, I think, is due to several factors. Partly, I think Romania sometimes just gets in its own way or is holding its own self back, or Romanians sometimes are their own worst enemy. But I'll give you some concrete reasons I think this is the case. One, there's a lack of sufficient government investment in tourism promotion and competent promotion of this nationwide. There's lagging infrastructure, still not enough freeways and trains. There's lingering mentalities and negativity still that sometimes creep into society and affect service levels. That can turn off travelers. There's an inferiority complex that Romania and Eastern Europe are second class. It shouldn't be the case. There's also an image problem abroad, or just a blank image of a country in desperate need of a brand. There's plenty of wide open spaces here with room to have tourists, room to expand. Romania has capacity. Look at the over-tourism problems in some other places. Dubrovnik, Venice, Florence, and Barcelona. There's been backlash. Romania has capacity, and I think capitalizing on nature and sustainability are one of the keys to do this. I just read a story in the BBC recently about 4 countries that are actively recruiting travelers and investing heavily in it with infrastructure and marketing and tourism promotion. The countries might surprise you. Georgia, Greenland, Morocco, and Serbia. Romania should be on this list, but it's not. But it's not all bad news. Romania is generating 5% of its GDP in tourism. This is certainly respectable. It's been growing a little bit. But take a look at Croatia, Greece, and Portugal. 25%, 20% of GDP. Now, I realize Romania's economy is much more diversified, so I wouldn't expect it to be at those levels. But I think there's room to grow. I would think you could double it in 5 years with help, perhaps from the government and more from the private sector. Perhaps there could be programs to incentivize starting new companies in travel and tourism, or hiring in sustainable tourism, or for the government to create a national tourist board, an apolitical national tourist board that most countries have and Romania still does not have. I think this would help a lot. Before the pandemic, travel numbers were big, and then they've been growing back again since then. In 2023, Romania had 13 million tourist arrivals, according to EU statistics. Hungary a much smaller country with arguably less to offer, but no offense to Budapest, had 50 million, 13 and 50 million in the same year. But before the pandemic, Romania's tourism numbers were growing at about 1 million per year. And that's rebounded back to those levels and is continuing to grow. So again, a good sign in the right trajectory. Again, I think sustainability could be one of the keys. Romania has vast virgin forests that are the envy of Europe, the last in Europe. There's plenty of natural sites and cultural and heritage treasures in this country to capitalize on. There's a lot of great stuff going on in the NGO community regarding sustainability. For example, there's an NGO called Foundation Conservation Carpathia, which is trying to protect 200,000 hectares of forest in Transylvania and make it the largest nature reserve in Europe to create this continent's Yellowstone National Park. Fantastic. There's another one called Forests Without Frontiers that is trying to, again, protect woodlands, but also connect it to music and culture and the arts. And there's Via Transilvanica, a fantastic hiking trail that goes all the way across Romania, from the northeast to the southwest. And its idea is to unite the different communities, ethnicities, cultural and various histories along the way. And it goes through villages with UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Another great addition to the scene. At the same time, Romania could thank King Charles for helping it rise on the radar in tourism. He, as Prince Charles, bought up a lot of property in Romania, put it in a trust. He has a personal residence as well, and he championed conservation efforts. He really cares about Romania and has championed this cause. Similarly, the British documentary filmmaker Charlie Otley also has done a yeoman's job of promoting Romania with his documentaries and short films, and again, conservation efforts, particularly about the Danube Delta. He also was one of the first to call out the Romanian tourism ministry on their lackluster efforts in tourism promotion, and they've since collaborated with him on some short films for BBC. Also, there have been a recent batch of articles about Romania in prestigious British, European, and American newspapers and magazines, including my story in the New York Times, that have shed new light on Romania as a chosen destination, as a legitimate tourism destination. So the momentum is there. There, again, is so much nature here to discover. Wide open spaces. It's just a matter of putting it in the right message and creating a brand and a proper brand and marketing strategy that would help this country. There are fantastic sites like this that when people come and they see it, they're just amazed. And the sky is really no limit, I think. The fact that the country has changed so much is very important as well. The stray dogs are gone. The facades have been restored and are bright and colorful. Those old Dacia cars are mostly long gone. They're replaced with new Dacias, or as you've seen in Timișoara or around the country, many BMWs and Mercedes. There is new prosperity here and people are smiling. The attitude has changed. I've seen this for 20 years, this gradual trajectory. It's for real. It doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet, but we're on the right way. The truth sometimes hurts, but it can also inspire us. I think that Romania is on the cusp of this, and having been a Peace Corps volunteer, I haven't lost that idealistic streak in me. But I also went to MBA school, and I think this is a case study, an opportunity. I know Romania can do this. Thank you. Thank you.